That's kind of how we differentiated to all the Bill Sheehan's.
That's funny. Yeah, at work on occasion I would be in a meeting with 5 other Bills,
Oh, God.
6 Bills in one meeting. I don't, it's a name that people don't get given anymore. It's fallen way down on the popular names list. I guess it got worn out.
I think there are a number of Wills, though. I know Williams who are Wills, not Bills. Younger people.
Yeah.
And they're like 20s and 30s. There's a number of Wills. Yeah. It'll come back. They do, They do.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't think so?
If I ever watch it.
Well, it's after William the Conqueror, I think, started all those wills, and I don't think that's necessarily a great thing to go after.
That's true. That's true.
Jordan?
I
The
am.
other version is the
Makes
Irish
me
name
laugh.
is Liam,
Huh.
the Gaelic of Liam.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
A lot of like young Liams now.
Okay. So our next class is January 5th. Yep, just so everybody knows when.
Yep.
Good. So questions? Requests? Difficulties? Breakthroughs? He says, hopefully.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's just a lot to, I mean, we get the breathing up into the shoulders and, work on that. And then something else falls by the wayside a little bit and then I get that back, working on the closing this week. And that, moving the chi. And that felt good, but then I realized that I really wasn't working on
Something else.
on breathing. So, back and forth, and forth, and, progress, but
Slow. It is.
Yeah,
This is not an easy practice.
no.
yeah. I think the breathing coordination is what I've tried to focus on a couple of times more this week, and slow. We've talked about it plenty, but slowing the breathing to go with the motion and coordinating the motions, the physical aspect. It's definitely the key to getting the internal stuff going.
Yes. Good. So,
And doing more with the breathing than just the abdomen, which is what I sort of fall into.
yeah. So taking some time before you launch into movement to try to establish that, as well as getting your mind to extend through your body, I think is important. And then indeed trying to keep all the parts going.
Yeah.
So
I do. One thing that I think have not super clear on is when we're twisting in and twisting out. I tend to get my hands into a position and then move them and then stretch rather than having the continual twisting. That's you know, I'm aware that I'm not doing it, but that's, but I am a little bit vague on when I'm twisting in and out at certain points.
That's a good point. Maybe we should go through and look at twisting, just to be clear, because where are those transition points?
That would help. Yeah.
And not only where are they, but how do you do that? Because, as you know, we don't want twist in, pause, twist out. We want that twisting in to flow right into the twisting out, and the twist back into the twisting in. And so being clear about where you want to do it, but also how you want to do it. And finding how you can, as Master Joe says, keep the corners rounded. So anything else anybody would like to? Okay, so let's go through this and look at the twisting. I'll put myself on the other camera. Yeah. Might as well do it with me.
All right.
So, stepping out. And so as we begin, that first preparatory movement is a bend in a twisting in. So in this case, in posture one, the thumbs are twisting in as you bend. And then as you go up, everything is twisting out. And then it begins to twist in all the way down. And then you have a beginning of twisting out. And those movements in this posture are very subtle. Okay. And then you're twisting out as you go into movement 2, all the way to here, and then twisting in through that connection, lagong and wrist, and then twisting out. In, out. In, then of course we have 2 ways of doing 3. So whichever one you're doing, you're going to go from 12. If you're, you might be inhaling here or exhaling. It could be either one. But you're going twisting out, twisting in, twisting out, twisting in, twisting out, twisting in, twisting out, twisting in, and continuing in as the arms come down. And as they start to spread to the extent of your etheric body, that's where they begin to twist out. All the way up to here, and then twist in. And twist out. And twist in as you condense. And twisting in, twisting out. Twisting in, twisting out. Twisting in, Lagong wrist, and twisting out. And twisting in. Twisting out. Twisting in. And then into the closing. Questions? Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Yep. So because we're going to have a fairly long break here, I like to just take another look at least your physical movement, and you'll have to work on the internals. I'll spot what I can, but what I'd like you to do is just do a flow. Do 10 repetitions of each posture. Okay. Good.
All right, the sun is impossible.
Good. So must be something about being here. There was slower breathing here than there was on the tube. So there are a few things that I'll mention, but I really found that encouraging because everybody's really making progress. Joanne, you look like you're really doing quite a bit better.
Great. Yeah, I was aware of the, things I needed to work on.
So, couple of two general things that I would say. One is to remember that the body needs to be in constant movement. So if your arm's complete, the body has to reverse direction. It doesn't wait. So I think everybody ran into that at some point along the way. So that's a continual one. The other one is that when we talk about bending and stretching, or bending and extending, it is not just that the arms and legs bend, the hands bend, the wrists bend. Wrist bending is very subtle, but everything's moving. It's just like twisting. Everything is twisting, everything is bending. So don't lose your hands in bending. I'm trying not to say too much. One was really pretty good. I did see a little tendency to get up to here and flip the hands out. We don't want to do that, of course. And notice that this movement comes at upper chest level, not up higher. So don't go too high with that. And two is the first time that we're feeling the extent of the etheric body. So the palms face outward at this point. They aren't here, that's 5. And 2, you're feeling the etheric body. You've got to let the palm, let the Laogong reach out and make that connection. Basically, I think otherwise 2 was pretty good. 3, but actually, it looked to me like an improvement over last week. And I really didn't have any particular comments about 3. Does anybody have a question about 3 at the moment? Okay. 4, still, again, this is the second time that we're connecting out to the etheric body. And as soon as you have done that, the elbows drop. That's still an issue. The elbows meet, and yes, the movement is round and the elbows are going the other way. So our tendency is to get to here and scoop in, but we're not. It's circling out as the elbows come in. And don't let the hands come into the center there on the sideline with the elbows. Actually, I was five looked pretty good. I think one of the things I want to say that's difficult in 5 is to really be clear that from this point, you are sending the energy out and down through your side channels, clear to the bottom. The arms aren't at the bottom, the energy is. And then it comes into your dantian and up the central channel all the way. The arms don't go all the way, the energy goes all the way. So it's that, I understand that's a difficult connection to make at first, but it's there. And you do want to begin to feel the energy moving at least up, maybe up your skin and out and down the skin and back in, but you want those 2 circles to start happening. When we get to 6, if fortunately the movement is a little easier, but it's the same circles going the other direction. So now you're going up the sides, down through the center, into the side channels and up. Okay, and this movement here is not the same as that we were doing earlier in 4. It's similar. It's similar. I will grant you that, but you have to make the distinction between them, because 4 is connecting to out to the sides and bringing the energy in. 5 is simply, 6, beg your pardon. 6 is simply bringing the energy from the center into the side channels and up. Not that you're not connecting out to the sides, but it's not a specific part of that movement. So, any questions? Good. I really feel very much encouraged. You guys are definitely making progress.
I got a question, I guess.
Sure.
Kind of a general question, but also really specifically for 5.
Yep.
I have a difficulty with bringing the energy up. So usually by the time I get to the point where you're saying the energy should already be at the top, I feel like the energy is kind of as high as my hands are, as high as that wrist connection. And it's been, as the hands go up, I can still feel the energy going up. And as they start to separate, that's when it separates and goes down. So I guess, is there a trick to
No.
connecting with the energy as the energy moves faster?
No,
I feel like-
it really is a matter of development and really focusing your intent.
Okay,
And it's entirely likely that at the moment, that's as high as you can get the energy.
okay,
It's not that you're doing anything wrong or you're bad. You're not a bad
Sure.
person. But getting it higher when you get to this point, I think is a matter of practice
okay. Okay,
and building the strength of that flow and your awareness of it,
okay,
and getting your mind to really intend that it will happen.
yeah,
Good question though.
okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I do have a question in 3.
Yep.
With the spine, it's pretty clear to me where we are at 6 and 12. And what I'm asking from transitions, if you're going from 9 to 12, when you do sort of that extra stretch and then you're transitioning up to 12, is the spine straighter at 6 or less straight than it is at 12? And, you know,
We haven't.
you emphasized before that we have a little extension at 3 and 6, that it definitely has to be there. And my question is the spine gradually transitioning from its C curve at 6 up to, you know, connected up and down in 12 through 3 and 9?
So as I said last week, we haven't looked at that C curve yet. And I'm not going to go there today.
Okay.
Bill, you keep trying. I know you keep
I
trying.
do. I tried to use different words and everything, you know. I'll have to wait till next year. I guess that's what you're saying.
Wait till next year.
That's it. We will get there, Bill. But for the moment, really just trying to be clear about the 4 points of that circle and the extension at 3 and 9. And then we'll insert the spine next year. It's coming shortly. Any other questions? Okay, good. Where are we here? Oh, good. So keep in mind that in movements 5 and 6, one of the primary concerns or the primary concerns are the left, right, and central channels. But are you doing everything else you've done in the first 4 movements of Gods? And of course, that's a trick question because the answer is yes. Understand, although the left and right channels are ultimately what really tell the other 4,000 what to do, the 4,000 are also telling the left and right channels how they can respond. It's not like it's only one direction. The two are completely linked. They are interdependent. You can't really separate them. One more thing about movements 5 and 6, they are fundamentally 2 different ways you can keep on playing with it until you find out how to balance your insides. When you move chi inside your body, there are 2 ways of looking at it. There are 2 overwhelming giant experiences that show up. One is that you have the experience of your chi being very heavy and very dense. And then you have the feeling of it being completely light and totally amorphous. It's condensed or light, amorphous. Generally speaking, the condensed way of doing it is going to bring you deeper inside yourself. You could experience that like a chest of gold getting heavier and denser, taking you inside yourself. And by that kind of drilling and coming down, that can cause you to penetrate inside yourself and recognize how your chi is moving. When the holes, or in the case of the chest of gold, when some has been taken out, I'm saying this because when you do movement 6, one way that it can be done is that through making the chi in your central channel heavier can enable you to feel it better. And then you could just keep this heaviness of feeling as you go up your left and right channels, because it might make it easier for you to feel it and easier to work with. You can take this in a simple thing. If someone touches you with 1,000th of a gram of strength, You might feel their hand, probably not. If they touch you with 30 grams of strength, you're absolutely going to know what's touching you. Now that's from the heavy side. That's its advantage. What is its disadvantage? It can make you start going so completely inside yourself, you don't notice anything else that's happening. And that's a negative. Because the object is to be aware of as much as you can at any moment. You're one person and you could very easily end up focusing on one tiny little part of you. And what about the rest? So where did it go? And you don't want that. And then you have the second thing, that when you make this get very light, it has a tendency to take what is overly condensed in you and break it up, which clears your channels. Do you know what I mean when I'm saying someone is being too heavy? Sometimes when you get heavy, you see things more clearly than when you are light. But a lot of times, the big result of being too heavy is your awareness narrows down into a tiny little thing and all the rest of it goes away. But as you get lighter, all of a sudden, you recognize more. Now, when you work on making it light, the biggest thing that can happen is that when something is blocked or bound inside you, the lightness does what the fire tradition calls sankai. Your chi disperses. It disperses until it's gone. In a Chinese metaphor, let's say you have a demon inside of you, an emotional demon, mental demon, psychic demon. If you get heavy, what now becomes your relationship with the demon? You get every little thing that is in that demon. You recognize its claws, its head, its whatever. And it's good in one sense, because if you don't know what something is, it's kind of hard to do something about it. But when you get light, you know what that does to the demon. It releases it until finally it disperses so much, it's gone. It loses its strength to remain coherent inside of you. And the fact of the matter is that in God's, you're always moving between these two things. Now, when you get the sense of the heaviness, you recognize the demon. You're able to start just recognizing what the central channel is. There is a clear sense of a ball in the movement. It's a tool that can enable you to recognize what's there. And then again, when it goes the other way and you get light at the end of the movement, there is no ball. And that is a way of clearing the central channel. There are so many techniques in Taoist meditation that work with this principle. And since God's is the bridge between meditation and doing Qigong, this is important and works equally well if what you're feeling is the chi inside your body that's making your body not happy. Do you know what turbid is? Turbid, mucky, not clear, dirty. What you're looking for is that physically your chi can have the sense of being turbid. Stagnant chi always feels turbid. Turbid feels gray inside of you. And if you get it light, it becomes clear. So what I'm going to ask you to do a very simple thing with the left and right channels and to play around with this idea. Because these are two feelings you don't have to make happen. They're going to happen all the time anyway. They're going to show up sometimes, and they're not going to show up other times. But I want you to recognize what they are. whether you're getting this kind of heavy chi feeling or you're getting this very, very light chi feeling. Because the light one is breaking up what is blocked, and the heavier one is getting you to recognize what's blocked. And there is a big difference. As a matter of fact, sometimes just in the sheer sense of the heavy one, it can give you much more of a feeling that you're doing something, really feeling something flooding inside you. The light one doesn't give you a feeling you're doing something, but it does a lot. So what I'd like you to do is to try 5 and 6 again, just 5 and 6, and do 10 of each, and just be open to feeling whether your chi is light or heavy, or if it changes. Don't try to do anything with it. This is really just trying to begin to be aware. Okay? So what did you feel in doing that? In terms of heavy and light?
Generally, light in the side channels, heavy in the central channel.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, I would say so. Heavier in the central channel, but throughout the whole thing, it felt lighter as I went along. And by the end of 6,
Mhm.
it felt lighter.
Good. Bill, Joanne?
I think for me, it's easier to feel the heavy. If light is the absence of heavy, yeah, I was feeling that a little bit, but I can't say I'm more in touch with the heavy, I think.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, as with what others have said, I felt the heaviness more in the central channel. And I felt it getting lighter as I went on. Also feeling it lighter on the rise as opposed to
Uh-huh.
going down.
Okay. So, as I said, there's not a right or wrong here. But every once in a while, as you practice, let your mind be aware of that. Later on, we will find it useful in thinking about blockages in the body,
Mhm.
dealing with them, but in gods. But for the moment, just being aware of what you feel.
Should that be more for 5 and 6 than the other postures? Or should you do it like through the whole thing?
You can do it through the whole thing.
Okay.
You're more likely to feel it more strongly in 5 and 6,
Okay.
simply because hopefully you're condensing in 5 and 6,
Mhm.
so it will be more acute.
Okay.
So what are the big things you want to be concentrating on in your practice of gods? The first thing is you want to combine all the Neigong together, like breathing, alignments, connecting the nervous system. But all of this, with all of this, in one sense, is going to rest on its ability to have your mind become quiet and have your mind penetrate your body, and then from your body, having penetrated your body, moving your mind inside your body. If you move your mind inside your body, sooner or later, the chi is going to follow. And this is a matter of fact. It should, over time, exponentially increase. When you're learning something, that's not necessarily the same thing as when you do it. You might spend 100 hours to learn how to do some skill, but then when you do that, you just do all the progressive stages at once. If you want to hit a baseball well, you have to get your feet on the ground, learn how to turn your waist, what to do with your shoulders, where you look, how you keep your eye on the ball, how you hit it, what you do inside your body to create what kind of pressure. And after you've gone through all the steps that comprise the ability to hit a baseball, if you have one of them out that's not working, then you usually don't do it very well. You now have to seamlessly combine all the steps into one thing. So you're only doing one thing, looking at the ball, and you're not and you're going to hit it. You're not going through a checklist in your mind. So when you're learning how to do a movement, you have to go through your checklist. But then the purpose is for it all to become seamless so that it is all happening at once. Now, this is going to require that your mind expand. At one level, your unconscious mind is capable of keeping track of hundreds of things at a time. Your conscious mind is sometimes able to hold that kind of awareness, but it's only able to keep aware of about 7 plus or minus new things. Anything you add, anytime you add something, you have to go through the slow process of getting that new thing to the point where they become a part of the conscious. And you know you're trying to do it, but then you have to have it occur inside your mind, inside your movements. So you're not thinking about doing this and that and this and that. You only think about where you are in the movement and where you're going next. But the learning phase, which you have just gone through, is to get the seamless internal movement. And if you don't have that seamless internal movement, know that it won't be a good idea. It would be a good idea to start beginning to work on it now. When you do gods, you should ideally be doing 20 repetitions of each of the 6 movements. As we start looking at all the Neigong components, recognize something. There are 16 basic Neigong components, but we've only done 3 or 4. You have to start from a solid base. So getting those together is going to be the base, if not more important than getting the physical movements together. When you want to get the physical movements together, then your mind goes inside your body. You want to have it be traveling inside your body in order to make these physical movements happen. Your mind is going in and moving you. And then your mind will simultaneously go into how your breathing and your mind will simultaneously go to how you maintain your alignments. So it's your mind that's actually making this thing happen in your body. It's going to get a full workout. And your mind is the thing that's going to tell your body to get that full workout. So I just thought I'd throw that one at you to take away for the break.
Right.
Nice.
So any last minute thoughts or questions? Well, happy holidays and happy New Year. And practice as much as you can in this busy time. Don't forget to do some gods along the way. But I recognize that you won't probably be practicing as much as you might otherwise. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
In movement 6, I just saw the hands are not coming down like this. They're coming down like this.
Oh, okay.
So when you get up to hit, part of that circle of the elbows is getting up here, and then they turn and twist in, twist in, twist in, twist in, twist in, twist in. So they're bending and twisting all the way down.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just noticed it when you were doing that. Bill, say happy holidays to Oh, he's gone. Oh, no, you're there.
No, he's
I'm
here.
still here. Yeah, we're eavesdropping your last minute tips.
Oh. Well, I think you guys were doing it. I just noticed here that this bill wasn't. So say happy holidays to Madeline for me.
I will too, and we
Yeah.
both say happy holidays to you and Jane. And
Thanks.
hope-
Yeah,
and you too,
Joanne.
Joanne.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Say hi
Yeah.
to Madeline for me. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've
It
seen her.
has been. It's been a while since we were at a Chinese restaurant together.
That's funny. Jade said this morning, I really want some Chinese food.
Well, you know, at the beginning of the pandemic, we went a few times to the Golden Palace because people were almost like boycotting Chinese restaurants because of
Oh,
China virus, you know,
Yeah, wow.
thing.
Wow.
And they were struggling.
Huh.
It's been a while for us too. Yeah.
Yeah, we missed that takeout place that's just over the bridge. And
yeah, I know. It's still there. They
It
survive.
is good, good. They're so good.
My problem is that I really have to cut down on salt, and
Oh, yeah, that,
Chinese food is not
no.
lacking
that
in
has-
sodium.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
yeah,
you can't
heavy
do it
on
without the
sodium.
soy sauce.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
make it yourself. Yeah.
Yep, you got it.
So we do, yeah.
The Chinese food I ate in China was not
Oh.
like that.
Nothing like
Yeah.
what you know. Yeah.
Right.
So, oh well. We'll have a good break, Bill.
You too, David, and
Okay.
thank you. Because this is so physically compact, it's real easy. I can like practice it in the shower, just, you know.
That's true. You don't need a lot of room.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care. See you,
You
Joanne.
too. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. I think that, David, the last two classes have also just such a good review of so much.
Yeah. I've been trying not to go very, add very much new in just at the moment.
Right,
There's,
right.
there's been so much new that
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's good to have a period of time to absorb and hopefully include.
right. Yeah, to me, yeah, and I think probably for many of us, it's still that getting it, getting it in so we're not thinking about it.
Oh, yeah.
So I found just even as we were thinking about the heavy and light chi, that my body movements were not as good as they'd been, an hour earlier, or
Yeah.
45 minutes earlier, right? Because I was concentrating on one thing. So that's clear.
Well-
We know that and we know it works when we do it right. So, just, separating them out and getting them back all together. So we're not
Yeah.
thinking about it before we, it's also interesting, as you say, this talking about all the 16, I don't know if you said 16, they go aspects, and it's like, I go back and reread that first handout and remind myself of that.
Yeah.
And you're right, I hadn't realized, we're only to like 0.3 here. Whoops. We better get this down. We got a lot coming.
Yeah, we do. That's and that's of course what this is about. Is there's a lot to be included, and so that's why I said at the very beginning of this, try not to fall behind, because it's very hard to catch up.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would be. Yeah, even the classes I've missed. Yeah, you really have to sit with the recording is make sure you see it before the next class or else.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
But that's a good thing is that we have these and the handouts. I print the handouts every week, so.
Yeah. Well, that's part of why, particularly in this period of not having in person with everybody, that I think providing the videos and the notes are really important. I think I need to share more than I might if you were here all the
Right.
time and I could put my hands on you and
Mm.
Yeah.
there's just so many two-person and personal connection pieces of this that
Right.
we can't do at the moment, that it's really it is, I think it makes it more difficult for the student, certainly. Providing the notes and the video is not a huge burden to me, so I'm glad to do it.
Right. And yeah, right. And you're right. I mean, we're not, yeah, it is harder for you to observe us and you could observe, yeah, Bill and Adam better. But it is also really helpful. I mean, I know that in classes when I'm there, before this, for other in the form, I'd be in the car like writing notes, just not wanting to forget things, right? And
Yeah.
now I don't do that because I can go back, right? So there's a way I can be present
Yep.
without worrying about that, and then go back and read and watch. So in that way, I need, multiple ways of learning. So that's, yeah, getting it in. So
Yep.
we have that. Good. I'm
So-
gonna have to go. I'm actually hoping that I'm much less busy over the holidays, but I have many things that need to be done today and tomorrow. Many
Oh,
deadlines. Everyone's having a meeting tonight and I've got mailings to get out and the like. So, and a meeting at 10:30. So
well,
Okay.
hang in there.
I will try, but if you and Adam can still keep taping and then I'll go back and watch. So,
Yeah. Have a good holiday.
all right, both of you too. All right, and
You
Jane,
too.
all right.
Bye, Joanne.
Bye-bye. Okay. So it's your private lesson again.
I guess so. Then there were two.
Yeah, right. What is this? I haven't seen or talked to Richard.
No.
Well, actually, I'll see him in the Dragon and Tiger class Saturday, so
Oh, okay.
I'll, he's continuing to pay for this, and so hope he's practicing. I could have
Mm.
tried to talk to him about that. I kind of like to observe what he's doing to make sure he's,
Yeah.
at least physically on the same page.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so any questions? What are you working on the form this week?
Mostly the knees still. Just
Oh.
trying to like really get through it without getting that heaviness in the right knee.
Uh-huh.
And it's slow progress. I find as you go, it's amazing how easy it is to have tightness creep in.
Mhm.
And then you do a posture, you let go, and then two postures later, you're like, nope, there it is again.
Yeah.
So between that, also just trying to feel more of a general sense of the energy. I think kind of what you were talking about today with the heavy and light, like you get so focused on a technique or one aspect that you kind of lose sight of the rest of it.
Yep.
You get through to the end and you feel like, okay, well I did that, but like nothing else seemed alive.
Yeah.
Like all I did was that in
Yeah.
a way. So,
Sometimes that's how it is, though, I think,
yeah,
at least in my experience. Sometimes you just can't do it all.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's part of the learning process, I think.
Yeah.
At
And
least that's what I tell myself, so I don't you know,
absolutely.
say
No,
get
but-
overwhelmed with how much there is to try and learn and incorporate and do.
But if you can stay focused on one thing all the way through,
Yeah,
that's a big step, because I can't tell you how many times people have told me in classes that they start out focusing on something and then suddenly they realize that they aren't, and they try to get it back and then it disappears again.
yeah,
So simply being able to stay present with one thing all the way through is a big step.
yeah. It's easy to become distracted by just the other stuff in Tai Chi, never mind the
Yeah.
other kind of just thoughts that pop in your, oh yeah, I gotta do this and that when I'm done.
Yeah.
Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Just, oh yeah, am I twisting here? Am I, bending and stretching? Am I opening and closing? And you're like, wait a minute, I was gonna start and just do the C-spine, you get to the end, you're like, what? So,
Yeah, you
It
do
is
the best you can.
yeah,
I mean, you're doing well, Adam.
Yeah.
You believe me, you're not.
I definitely find Gods is very, very helpful. And it's, I don't know how to pinpoint it. It's in ways that you don't think about. You do Gods and then you do the form, and you have awarenesses that are there in the form that you weren't really focused on in Gods. But when you look at the whole thing, I'm pretty sure those awarenesses would not grow if you weren't doing what we're doing in Gods.
Yep.
And I think a lot of it has to do with practicing extending the mind through the body and trying to maintain that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like we've been doing this a long time, and like I keep having these moments of like, wait a minute, like, what I'm feeling over here, like I always thought of that as, like there's my hip, and it's like, no, that's my lower back, or like, they're like, wait a minute, like my lungs aren't like they're big, but they're not as big as I thought they were. Like what I'm feeling here is not what I used to think of.
Yeah.
I was like breathing into that spot, and you kind of like, I don't ever think what I was feeling with one thing seems very clearly not the case now. It just kind of,
Yeah.
I guess that's what happens as the awareness grows and you get a little more fine tuned. You start to be able to differentiate these things a little better.
And believe me, the thing that that amazes me is that never ends.
Huh. Really?
We're
Yeah.
so focused on achieving a goal,
Yeah.
but that doesn't happen with this.
Yeah.
You just keep getting better and better, and your awareness grows and grows, and it all expands and expands and expands, and it never stops.
Yeah.
That's what's absolutely astonishing to me. I mean, I heard that, and I probably said it in my earlier years,
Yeah.
but now I'm at 35 years of Tai Chi, and I've done quite a bit.
Yeah.
And boy, do I have a long way to go.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, it's so, it's funny when you just think about it intellectually, like how much of your kind of central nervous system operates in the background. Like,
Yeah.
It's like your brain is turned off to it. And like how much you can become aware of it. You never thought was possible, how much of your own body you can like feel without,
Yeah.
or like how much of life you can go through without feeling so much of your body and self.
How many people are doing that?
Yeah.
That's-
Well, what's funny is people ask me, what is Tai Chi? What do you do? And I try to explain it a little bit in basic terms, like
Yeah.
moving, meditation, learning to relax and feel your body and, feel your central nervous system and become more aware of yourself. And how many people reply, well, why would you want to do that? And I'm like, that's kind of interesting. Like, I don't know how to answer that question. Because to me, it's like, well, why would you ever not do that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think about it. Like, oh man, like,
That's interesting. Yeah.
they're like,
I have the same response you did.
huh.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all right, well, maybe Tai Chi is not for you. Like, I don't know, maybe yoga or jujitsu or something, but yeah, it's funny, and you try to explain, like, well, the more you do, hopefully the smoother and easier you can move your body and also kind of navigate through the world with your thoughts and emotions too, but it's kind of a funny one, So,
Yeah, it is very hard to explain to people in a meaningful way that they can understand and accept. Yeah,
I mean,
it's not easy.
I've definitely stopped trying to discuss Taoist philosophy with people because that seems to like
Most people are not.
be I don't know how to describe it, too much or kind of no fly zone or like
Yeah,
I guess
depends where they're coming from, certainly, but and of course, one of the problems I think with that is that people don't realize how similar it is to many other spiritual philosophies if they really
sure
knew what they were talking about.
sure
Yeah, it's different words,
yeah
some different concepts in a way. I mean, one of the big problems is if you get somebody who simply can't let go of a personal God who's
yeah
guiding everything, because that's just not, and that doesn't make any sense to me anymore.
Mhm.
I can't accept that.
Mhm.
I agree there's a higher power, and sometimes, just changing the words you're using
Mhm.
can help people at least understand what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. But in terms of the form, I found it interesting the last couple of weeks. Kind of one of those awarenesses that have been growing is actually opening and closing in the Kwa,
Mm-hmm.
and also just with that, when moving through any turn, I always think of if I'm turning this way, turn this way, but like the turn seems to be easier to relax into and go smoother if instead of thinking of turning like my body going this way,
Mm-hmm.
if almost there's like a force going through the hips, through the midriff, kind of in the opposite direction. But like if you focus on that being the cause of the turn, it just seems to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been really doing a lot with that, with thinking of like, okay, well, what is causing the stress in the knee? And it's all of this stuff tightening, so it's all rigid, and then as I turn, like it's trying to turn, but the foot's pointing on the ground and not turning.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Versus kind of a wave of relaxation moving in the opposite direction seems to just like let that leg stay unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
That you just kind of hang there. So
Well, and keeping, in this case, your right hip, your right quad relaxed
right.
Into that, because you're right. I mean, that is, that movement, is a relaxation. If you just let it happen, if you start it from the foot through this quad, if that's the action that begins it, the rest of it is just let go.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, so I think, I don't know if I was holding tension somewhere like, here and in the calf muscle. But I felt like what I was doing a lot of times was instead of, relaxing into it, almost kind of like hip checking your way out. Because I was doing it in front of a mirror and, looking, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like my foot is here and my knee is over the toe, but then my hip is like hanging out,
That,
that
that
I mean?
immediately puts stress right down the side of the leg.
Right. And then you get, it kind of wraps around there.
Yeah,
And like no amount of then like trying to let go of the leg muscles helps it because you're really like bowling over.
yeah, you've gone too far.
Right. So that's been kind of the like, hey, like bring it, make sure your hip is really in line there.
Yeah. And also
Relax into there.
feeling the energy when you go onto that leg, feeling the energy drop from the hip right down through the foot.
That I have a hard time with in the form. When doing the all the other practices, it's much easier.
Uh-huh.
In the form, I can feel the weight drop down, but the energy, it just difficult to connect with
Yeah.
in terms of dropping down, unless I'm specifically focusing on just that kind of like the energy in the lower body and letting go of the rest, kind of like we were doing a few weeks ago when we weren't using the hands,
Yeah.
and just focusing on.
One of the other things that's really important is keeping the dome relaxed, that whole, not only the perineum, but all of this area from knee to knee,
Oh, yeah.
which only, I mean, we don't have a word for that. The Chinese word is dong. And if that closes at all or tenses at all, it really inhibits the flow of the energy from the body into the leg and back
Oh,
up.
interesting. Okay.
So that's another focus.
So when you do that, is that like you shouldn't, I guess,
Yeah.
like
exactly.
there, right? But you also don't want to overdo it and like
No,
be deliberately riding the horse, so to speak.
no, you're right. You're right. So yeah, you want to keep it open, but it's very easy to close that.
Yeah.
And you can look at it and you think, oh, I'm okay. Well, if you get real specific, no, you're not.
Yeah.
But it's a small adjustment.
Huh.
And that's a relaxation too, because that gives you the stability to sit into that position. It's harder when when you go into follow and focus, even though that's just a straight ahead movement, because it's a one-legged movement.
Yeah. Like I can feel, you go a little bit too far here.
Yep.
And like it kind of closes off right there.
Yep.
And then you can also kind of feel those muscles right about here, tightening and pulling like this way to try and pull yourself back.
Yeah, because immediately my sense was that all I had to do was go poop.
Yeah. Right. So
Because that's part of the reason why you really have to work on not letting the foot do that, because now not only am I pretty much unstable, but I've closed off the dong. So as soon as it gets back here, I can open everything and I can find that stability. Yeah.
interesting. Okay. I'll have to work on that.
Yeah.
Play around with it. Cool.
Well, I hope you have a good holiday season.
You too, David.
Don't work too hard.
I never do.
if you can help it.
I never, if I can help it.
I'm sure they place a lot of demand.
Yeah. Yes and no,
Yeah,
you know, I just don't react to it as extremely as others do, you know, so, all right,
you gotta just do what you can do.
let's do the job, that's it, you know?
Yep.
I think a lot of people get too caught up in reacting to doing the job instead of, you know,
Yeah,
burn all that energy, and you're like, should be half done by now.
yeah,
So, it's all good.
you tell them that?
Try to, you know, but I mean, kind of like telling people about Tai Chi and, you know, Taoist philosophy, like they see the world one way.
Yeah.
They don't want to be told that there are other ways to engage with it.
Ah,
They say, wow, I feel a little sorry for you
yeah,
because it doesn't have to be this hard.
no,
You know,
no,
so there you go. Well, enjoy the weeks off.
I will, thanks.
We'll see you next year.
All righty, buddy.
All right, bye, David.
Bye-bye.